So Trump is determined to take out birthright citizenship, right? That was a law supposedly set in place for the children of slaves back in the 1800s, from what I understand. And so it was never meant to be a law where you could kind of have this, where you could just come to the United States, pop out a baby, and all of a sudden your baby has complete citizenship and can run for president when they hit 35. And I think if you look at a lot of the birthright laws in Europe, and Western Europe specifically, there's actually a lot of countries that have done away with birthright citizenship. A lot of them have had it, but a lot of them have changed it over time because they don't like for people to just be able to, cross the border real quick and then have a baby, and now they have a permanent tie to the United States just for free, just because they popped out the baby on American soil. The subject of this video is, well, we're going to see what it's about, but apparently there's some kind of 1940s law that might, is it kill birthright citizenship? Okay, let's watch though.
History is made at the Supreme Court on Wednesday as President Trump became the first sitting president to personally attend a hearing at the High Court. Casey sat in on his stakes that are equally historic, as the 9 justices grappled with the administration's attempt to revoke birthright citizenship for illegal immigrants, a move that could fundamentally redefine the American family and overturn more than a century of legal tradition. This landmark case centers on the president's executive order that he issued on the first day in office last year. The order seeks to block the children of illegal immigrants and short-term visitors from receiving automatic American citizenship if they are born inside the country.
This guy is really talking in very proper text, but he's just saying, when he says that threatens to reverse 100 years of legal precedent, it just means that, yeah, we've had birthright citizenship for 100 years.
While the president watched from the courtroom, the justices contended with the 14th Amendment implications of the order. The 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. The administration's lawyer, Solicitor General D. John Sauer, argued that illegal immigrants and temporary visitors fail this test because they lack the legal capacity to establish a permanent home or domicile in the country. He pointed to long-standing exceptions for children of foreign diplomats or occupying armies as proof that being born on the soil isn't enough.
Right. I mean, it's kind of just like a hack to get into the country, I think. And honestly, for as long as it's been around, as long as it's on the books, right? If something's not illegal, then feel free to exploit it. I remember when my dad first, he graduated from the Air Force Academy. He got a scholarship there, so he was just a poor kid that wanted to go to college. Everyone laughed at him, and he got into the Air Force Academy. And then after he graduated with a degree in engineering, I think he decided that wasn't what he wanted to do. And he moved out to California and got an MBA. And then there was some kind of amazing law in place with real estate that made it very lucrative to buy and sell real estate in some capacity. And I know at a certain point, I guess because everyone was making too much money, they reversed it. So he lost everything. But as long as it's available, hey, make your money. Make your money. That's, on the frontiers of what is riskiest and where the loopholes are, that's really where the most money can be made. So, props to people who've taken advantage of birthright citizenship. Trump wants to do away with it because I guess he wants the country to be a more guarded nation. And honestly, having spent quite a bit of time in my life in Europe, especially in Western Europe, and I'm talking about the countries like France, Netherlands, Belgium, a lot of the countries in the EU, Portugal, Italy, all those countries, Germany, the UK, a lot of them run their countries the way that Trump wants to run the United States. And a lot of those countries are much smaller, right? They equate the United States as to being the size of all of Europe, but those countries have amazing programs for their citizens, and that's because they don't just let everybody in. I mean, America's always been the melting pot, the home for everybody, the downtrodden, but we have to have some kind of boundaries, right? As a human in your house, you don't just say you want to bring everybody in. You can be a very well-meaning, generous person, but you have to have some kind of qualification to let people into the area that you call home. So in that regard, I agree. I think doing away with birthright citizenship, honestly, I really don't have a huge problem with it at this point. Drop your thoughts inside the comments and let me know what you think. You think I'm being too severe? So let's keep watching.
But the justices across the ideological spectrum weren't easily convinced. Chief Justice John Roberts Jr. called those exceptions very quirky and idiosyncratic, questioning how the government could jump from tiny groups like children of ambassadors to a massive class of millions of people such as illegal immigrants. Justice Elena Kagan highlighted the 1898 case of Wong Kim Ark, which has served as a broad grant of citizenship for over a century. She noted that the common law tradition is clear. Nearly everyone born here is a citizen. Justice Samuel Alito did suggest the 1898 ruling could be read to distinguish between those who put down roots and those who are merely temporary sojourners. But the opposition, led by Cecilia Wong of the ACLU, maintained that jurisdiction applies to virtually everyone born on U.S. soil. The practical reality of the order also faced intense scrutiny. Justice Amy Coney Barrett pointed out that the administration's focus on the parent's intent to stay is nearly impossible to prove at the moment of birth. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson took it a step further, asking if the government would have to bring pregnant women in for depositions just to determine a child's future status. Beyond the Constitution, there are significant statutory hurdles. The president acted through an executive order, but several justices noted that this seemed...
Wait, I guess they're saying... I might have zoned out for a second, guys, and not really caught everything he was saying, because he speaks in such... The way he's speaking is very... I wish it was a little bit more down to earth, but I think there's some 1940s law where you have to kind of figure out what's happening with the parents and what their intention is.
Seems to contradict a 1940 law that explicitly adopted the broader version of birthright citizenship.
Okay.
Because executive orders cannot override federal law, the court could strike down the order without even touching the constitutional debate. The implications of this ruling are staggering. Estimates suggest as many as 250,000 children born each year could be affected. While birthright citizenship is the norm in the Western Hemisphere, including Canada and Mexico, it is rare in Europe and Asia. Moving away from this tradition could leave children born in the U.S. as stateless persons, and as Justice Sonia Sotomayor warned, it could open the door for future governments to denaturalize people who were previously considered citizens. President Trump has already lost in every lower court to consider in this case, with judges from both parties ruling.
See, the problem is with trying to remove birthright citizenship is that we've had it this way for so long that it's going to present a lot of problems, but or a lot of changes to things. But you know, that's what Daddy Trump's doing, right? He is changing things that people have been complaining about for forever. And when you change things, you're going to have a little bit of trauma. Look, when you go see a therapist for the first time, they tell you, hey, it's going to be more work to start than it is to maintain. It's going to kind of kick up a lot more dust than you have right now at the beginning, because you're explaining everything and you're getting it all out. And then later it'll get easier again. So it's actually harder to start. But you can't let that keep you from starting. So I don't know what you guys think. Let me know inside the comments what you guys think. It's an interesting debate. We probably should have done it a long time ago, but we left it. And now it's not just people coming over to the United States just to have the baby. It's people moving here, and then when they have a kid, they're like, oh, at least my kid will be an American citizen. I mean, it's a real easy way to have a way into the country. I'll be honest, because like I said, growing up in my life and going over to Europe, I don't see it that much over there. And it used to be in play, but they've pretty much killed it a lot of places in the world already, a lot of developed nations. And again, those developed nations consequently have better programs for the citizens because they spend less money, you know, making people citizens by just being born there, because that costs a lot. Because now that those people are citizens, they automatically get all the benefits of U.S. citizenship just because they were born on American soil. It does sound cool, though. I will say it does sound cool to be, if you're born on American soil, you are an American. That does sound cool to me. Like, if you could just get here, if your mom can just get here when she has you, you're an American citizen. You know, it's just tough because, just like in life, right? People make lots of money. People do all this. You want people to just give you things, but that's not always how it works. You have to work for things, and then they mean something. So,
against him. For now, the order remains on hold, but the final word belongs to the Supreme Court. The decision is expected by the time the justices head into summer recess at the end of June. For the Washington Times, I'm Matt Delaney. To read more, visit Washington Times.
All right, well, interesting. I'll keep you guys posted on what happens with that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you're having a great night.